There is a moment in every life where silence surrounds the soul. The dreams that once burned like fire now flicker dim. The world doesn't clap. No one cheers. It's just you alone staring at the weight of your own disappointment. The voice in your head grows louder than any crowd ever did, whispering, "You failed." But what if I told you this is the sacred place where greatness is born, where history is rewritten not by the perfect, but by the relentless, where Leonardo da Vinci, cloaked in failure, dared to keep sketching blueprints for machines the world laughed at? What if your failure isn't the end, but the forge? Look around at the monuments of mankind, the bridges, the skyscrapers, the symphonies, the stories. They were not born of ease. They were carved out of chaos. Lincoln lost more elections than he won before stepping into immortality. Edison was called a fool over 1,000 times before light obeyed his will. Each failure was a teacher. Each fall a chapter in a deeper story. When you fall, fall like a seed. Bury into the earth. Absorb the darkness. Let it press against you until your roots grip tighter, until the pressure becomes your purpose. The ground does not curse the seed for falling. It cradles, it waits, and watches for what will bloom. You do not learn to lead by being praised. You learn by bleeding. You learn by watching everything fall apart and then asking yourself if the fire still burns. The mind is a forge, and failure is the flame. Your beliefs, they melt in that heat. Weak ones die. Strong ones reshape. You realize that you never needed permission, applause, or perfection. You needed grit. You needed vision beyond the victory. Da Vinci didn't wake up painting masterpieces. He scribbled. He doubted. He rewrote. He dissected corpses not to shock the world, but to understand it. To fail at knowing it completely and yet try again. What excuse then do we have? When the world walks away, when friends forget your name, when critics mock the ashes of your ambition, this is when your real name is written. Not the one they say, but the one you claim. Failure doesn't write your obituary, it writes your origin. There is a beauty in the broken. Not the fragile kind, but the beautiful brutality of a soul that refuses to die quietly. The kind of soul that stares at rock bottom and says, "This is not my home." Your mind will betray you if you let it. It will feed you lies like poison that you are not enough, that you are done, that success is for others. Crush those lies. Speak louder. Declare war on limitation. Because every master you admire was once a beginner who refused to stay one. Let go of needing the path to be smooth. Let go of needing a map. Blaze it. Da Vinci didn't follow. He wandered. He imagined machines that couldn't exist until centuries later, because he understood something few do. Failure is simply evidence of trying to stretch reality. Stretch it. Let the world say you're too early, too raw, too different. History is not made by those who blend in. It is made by those who break things, norms, beliefs, barriers, and have the courage to build again from the pieces. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about intention. It's about rising when there's no audience, about rehearsing when no one is watching, about shaping your craft when no one believes, because someday they will. And when they do, they will say, "You were lucky. You were gifted." Let them, because you will know what they never saw: the nights you cried in silence, the mornings you rose in rage, the doubts that clawed at you like wolves. You will know that your success was not an accident. It was engineered in the lab of your own failure. The mind sharpened by suffering, the will strengthened by setbacks, the heart purified in the fire of rejection. There are no wasted trials, only unclaimed treasures buried in the ruins. Dig deep. Speak to yourself as Da Vinci might. Not with ego, but with vision. Ask not, "Why did I fail?" but "What can I learn so that I never fail the same way again?" That is evolution. That is art. There are no shortcuts for the soul that seeks greatness, only climbs, steep, brutal, exhausting climbs. And those who endure them will stand on summits others never dared approach. Don't envy the ones who make it look easy. Respect the ones who made it through hell and kept their soul intact. You are not broken. You are becoming. Becoming the type of person who knows that scars are not shameful, they are sacred. Proof that you lived, that you fought, that you chose growth over comfort. Hold your head high in the silence. Let the failure wash over you, but never let it define you. Because somewhere inside, you is a force that does not yield, a vision that does not die, a voice that cannot be silenced, and that voice is whispering still, rise again, and this time rise as the one who was broken but not beaten, as the one who stumbled but saw farther from the ground, as the one who failed but learned to forge miracles from mistakes. This is your story, written in sweat, carved in failure, sealed with fire. You were never meant to stay down. You were meant to rise again, and again, until the world has no choice but to listen. And if they ask you where you've been, tell them you were in the wilderness, that you walked through doubt, drank from the river of regret, and found your reflection staring back with fire in its eyes. Tell them you met the part of yourself that does not bend, does not bow, the part that wakes up in the dark and still chooses to move. You are not here to impress. You are here to express, to etch your name not on a plaque, but in time through courage, consistency, and refusal to quit. There will be days when the mirror reflects only fatigue, when the burden of progress feels heavier than failure itself. But even then walk, even then create, even then plant seeds, because the harvest will come, not in the time you demand, but in the time you earn. Do not apologize for your ambition. Do not dim your brilliance to soothe the fear of smaller minds. Da Vinci did not shrink. He expanded. With every failure he saw further. You are made of that same essence. Let your vision offend the ordinary. Let your resilience make mediocrity uncomfortable. Let your consistency shame every excuse you once believed. You will be misunderstood. You will be mocked. And when that moment comes, smile. Because that is the price of building something they cannot yet comprehend. You are not chasing success. You are becoming the kind of soul success is drawn to, the kind who gets up not for trophies, but for truth, the kind who chooses impact over approval, the kind who does not wait for perfect days, but makes power out of painful ones. Even now, especially now, you are sculpting your legacy, not with marble and chisel, but with decision and defiance. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you silence the inner critic with action, you are rewriting the script you were handed. And when the dust settles, because it always does, you will stand not because the storm passed, but because you became the storm. And from that storm you will bring the rain. Rain that nourishes others. Rain that awakens hope in the forgotten. Rain that reminds the world that failure is not an end but a beginning in disguise. So carry your scars like medals, speak your truth like thunder, and walk forward not with fear but with fire. Because the greatest masterpiece Da Vinci ever painted was not with brush or canvas, but with courage. And now it's your turn, not to follow, but to dare. To fail with your eyes open, your fists clenched, your soul unshaken. To become the person who no longer flinches at rejection, who no longer waits for permission. You do not ask if you're worthy, you declare it with the work. With every early morning, every sacrifice, every moment you showed up despite the doubt. This world was not made for the cautious. It was made by the defiant, by the dreamers who were told they couldn't and didn't care, by the builders who started with nothing but a vision so loud it drowned out every no. You are the architect of your own becoming. You are the rebellion against mediocrity. You are the echo of every soul who refused to surrender. Let that truth burn inside you. Let it wake you before the sun does. Let it push you through the pain, through the critics, through the silence. Because if your journey is easy, you are walking someone else's path. The path of purpose is uphill. It is lonely. It is brutal. But at the top, you become unshakable. When they see you rise, they will ask how you did it. They will want your secret, your shortcut. And you will smile because there was none. There was only the climb, the hunger, the failures that carved you into steel. You are not a product of luck. You are a product of refusal, of choosing to move forward when others froze, of taking one more step when logic said, stop. Do not quiet your roar for anyone. Do not tame your fire to make others comfortable. Light the way for those still lost in the dark. Stand tall not because you're fearless, but because you know fear is fuel. Turn pain into paint. Turn scars into scripture. And write your legacy where no one can erase it. In action. In perseverance. In the relentless truth that no failure has ever had the final word. You do, and you've only just begun. Because the ones who finish strong are not the ones who started with certainty, but the ones who kept going with conviction. Every setback has refined you. Every tear has tempered you. Every sleepless night has sculpted you into someone who cannot be bought broken or silenced. You have walked through your own fire. Now carry that flame. Let it ignite the dormant places within you. Let it remind you that this life is not about safety, it's about significance. You were not born to tiptoe through life. You were born to storm it, to rewrite the ending, to take the pen from fate's hand and say, watch me. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs your voice, your truth, unpolished, undeniable, unstoppable. Be the artist of your own pain, the engineer of your own comeback, the philosopher of your own resurrection. You don't need a guarantee. You are the guarantee. When everything is stripped away, your title, your bank account, your applause, what remains? Character, resilience, purpose. Let those be your pillars. Let those be the blueprint you pass on to those who come after. Because one day, someone will walk through their own darkness, and they will remember your fire. They will recall how you stood when it hurt, how you rose when it was easier to fall, how you dared when the world doubted. You won't be remembered for the trophies. You will be remembered for the torch you carried, and how it lit the way not just for yourself, but for all those too afraid to move. This is your legacy in motion. This is the masterpiece in the making. And failure was just the frame. The art was always you. And art, real art, is never born without resistance. It demands the artist to pour themselves into the canvas until there's nothing left but truth. And your truth, was never supposed to fit neatly within the boundaries of comfort. No, your truth was born to stretch across the edges of expectation, to rip through doubt, to say I was forged in the fire, and I emerged unashamed. History doesn't remember the polite. It remembers the persistent. It remembers the ones who failed with their whole heart and still chose to try again, who shattered, who screamed into the void, and yet stood once more, not out of arrogance, but out of purpose. So when the world grows silent, when your victories are invisible, when your heart feels hollow, and the days bleed into each other with no sign of progress, know this: that is the echo of greatness forming. Not loud, not flashy, but real. Michelangelo stared at slabs of cold, unyielding stone and saw giants. He didn't carve them because it was easy. He carved them because he had to. Because something inside would not let him sleep until the marble mirrored the vision within. That's the fire you carry. Every failure you endure, every fall you take, is not a detour from your destiny. It is the passage required to earn it. You do not become who you were meant to be by succeeding your way there. You become by breaking, by rebuilding, by choosing integrity when shortcuts are offered, by facing your own inadequacy and saying not today, not forever. Let every wound be a window. Let every scar be a story. Let every disappointment be the drumbeat you march to. Because beneath the ashes of every defeat is a decision: stay down or rise. There are no ordinary people who rise again and again. They are chosen not by fate but by fire. They do not ask for lighter loads, they ask for stronger backs. You were not cursed by your failures. You were called by them. They were not punishments. They were invitations to dig deeper, to think clearer, to love the process more than the prize. You want the crown, then bear the cross. You want mastery, then marry the mundane. Because the world doesn't give greatness. It waits, it watches, and it only rewards those who endure long enough to outlast its silence. Your silence, it's sacred. In it, your mind sharpens, your will thickens, your intuition speaks. And what it says is this: you're not done. You're just beginning again. You are not chasing dreams. You are building realities. You are the sculptor, the architect, the composer of your future. And every setback is just a note, a line, a chisel stroke. It does not make the work less valuable, it makes it timeless. The Wright brothers didn't build a plane because it made sense. They built it because the sky called louder than their fear. And when it crashed, they built it again. Not because they were certain, but because they were committed. And you who've fallen, you who've questioned you, who feel behind you are in the perfect place. Because from here, the climb counts most. From here, you build muscle. From here, you shape vision. There are no accidents in the lives of the brave, only trials. And those trials refine you, not define you. Do not look for proof that you're worthy. Create it. Do not wait for doors to open. Build them. Do not ask if you are enough. Prove it to yourself. Let your life become a protest against surrender. Let your days become a gallery of defiance. Let your breath be a statement: I am not done. Every time you rise, you silence 10,000 doubts. Every time you move, you disrupt mediocrity. Every time you believe, you expand what's possible. And in that process, in that brutal, beautiful rebirth, you will discover what Da Vinci understood: that genius is not gifted. It is grown. It is earned in solitude. It is carved through discomfort. It is claimed not by talent, but by tenacity. You will be told to slow down. You will be told to stop. But they do not know what you carry. They do not know the nights you whispered to yourself, just one more day. They do not know the promises you've buried beneath your pain. So do not answer them. Answer only the call inside you, the one that says, I will not vanish. I will not yield. I will become. And when the sun sets and your name is etched into legacy, they will ask how. You will not say luck. You will not say timing. You will say, I failed better. I fell forward. I kept walking. Because true success is not avoiding failure. It is evolving through it. It is laughing in the face of the odds. It is standing when logic says lie down. It is choosing courage over comfort, vision over validation, purpose over popularity. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to be exceptional. So roar, so rise, so become the legend they never saw coming. You are not the mistakes you've made. You are the message you've become. Keep writing. The world is listening now, and they will never forget the sound of your rise. Because once a soul chooses to rise from the ashes, truly rise, it is never the same again. It walks differently, speaks differently. It carries an invisible gravity, the weight of experience, the echo of every fall it has endured. You can hear it in their footsteps, those who have faced failure and refused to kneel. There's a stillness about them, not the silence of defeat, but the quiet confidence of one who has battled and returned stronger. That is who you are becoming. Not just a survivor, but a builder, a creator, a living testament to the idea that failure is not the opposite of success, it is its most faithful companion. And every time you chose to face it, to step into it, to walk through its storm rather than avoid it, you earned a piece of your destiny. Remember, it is not the falling that ruins us. It is staying down, and you have proven that you will not stay down. Your will is louder than their doubts. Your work ethic is louder than your fears. Your commitment is louder than the shame that tried to claim you. And now it's your time to be the storm. Build with your pain, lead with your heart, speak with your scars, because they are no longer wounds, they are wisdom. You didn't learn by winning. You learned by losing. You didn't grow by being right. You grew by being wrong again and again and still having the audacity to continue. You are not here to live a life of convenience. You are here to create a life of consequence. So create it, write it in bold, speak it into being, move with intensity. Don't worry if they misunderstand you. Genius is often mistaken for madness. Vision is often mistaken for arrogance. But it's not your job to be understood. It's your job to become undeniable. You will not reach the summit by fitting in. You will rise by standing out, by standing tall, by standing true, especially when it's hard. So dare to be different. Dare to be disciplined. Dare to dream so big your fears choke on the echo. This world rewards the unreasonable, the unstoppable, the unapologetic. And that is you. You who fell. You who were told it was over. You who sat alone with your regrets and chose not to let them define you. You've walked through shame. You've carried doubt. You've looked in the mirror and questioned your own worth. But still you rose. And that rising makes you dangerous to mediocrity. The average will never understand the awakened. Because once you've failed and kept going, you lose your fear of trying. And when a human no longer fears failure, they are free. Free to create. Free to love deeply. Free to take risks. Free to chase dreams with wild devotion. So chase them. Not politely, not cautiously, but like your soul is on fire. Because it is. And that fire is sacred. It is the flame Da Vinci carried when he looked at blank parchment and saw blueprints for flying machines. It is the fire that lit the eyes of Harriet Tubman, who returned again and again through danger because freedom was worth more than fear. It is the fire that burned inside Mandela, inside Tesla, inside Joan of Arc. It is the same fire you feel now. Feed it, fan it, use it, because your voice matters, your art matters, your purpose matters, even if the world isn't ready, even if they laugh, even if they turn away. Because history is never made by those who waited for permission. It's made by those who moved, now, relentlessly, bravely, and yes, imperfectly. You're not here to impress. You're here to impact. You're not here to follow the script. You're here to write your own. And failure, that's just ink on the page. Ink that proves you lived, that you tried, that you gave a damn. Ink that will dry and become the paragraphs that inspire someone else's breakthrough. So keep writing, even with shaky hands, even with tired eyes, even with a heart still healing. Because your story isn't over, it's just getting louder. You will not be remembered for how perfect you were. You'll be remembered for how resilient you remained, for how you showed others that no matter how dark it gets, there's still a way forward. That failure is not fatal, it's fertile. Fertile ground for strength, fertile ground for mastery, fertile ground for transformation. So transform, not someday, today. Take everything you've lost and let it teach you how to win. Take everything you feared and let it fuel your focus. Take everything you've suffered and let it sing. Let it sing of your defiance. Let it sing of your return. Let it sing of the greatness that can only rise from the ruins. This is your time, not tomorrow, now. And not because you are unafraid, but because you are unwilling to let fear have the final word. You are the answer to someone's silent prayer. You are the proof that it's possible. You are the reminder that failure is not the end. It's the invitation to become something greater. And that greatness, it's been inside you all along. All it needed was the fall. All it needed was the silence. All it needed was the storm. And now that it's here, unleash it. Let the fire consume every excuse. Let the flame touch the fear until it turns to ash. Because now there is nothing left to wait for. No applause to chase. No validation to beg. No certainty to crave. Just one thing: movement. You move because stillness is death. You move because the dream didn't die, it was just waiting for you to rise high enough to claim it. This moment is not a reward. It is a responsibility. A demand placed on your soul by everything you've lived through. You are not here to merely exist. You are here to erupt into the fullest expression of yourself, to become the person your younger self never believed they could be. Breathe. Feel your heart pounding like a war drum in your chest. That is not fear. That is readiness. That is your spirit remembering it was never meant to hide. So go. Go write that song, launch that business, speak that truth, break that cycle, climb that mountain, even if your knees shake. Especially if your knees shake. Because that's how you know you're alive. You were not put on this earth to tiptoe to your grave. You were meant to sprint, stumble, leap, and scream your way toward impact. Do not let the weight of your past keep you grounded. Your pain is not an anchor, it's a launch pad. Every loss you've endured, fuel. Every betrayal you've faced, fire. Every failure you've survived, foundation. You are not fragile, you are forged. You are the product of every second you thought you wouldn't make it. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still burning, still becoming. This is not your end. This is your edge. The edge where most people stop, where most people look down and turn around. But not you. You are the one who looks over the cliff and sees the sky, who takes a breath and jumps, because you know your wings were not meant to be tested in safety. They were meant for flight. So fly. Fly with everything they said was impossible. Fly with every scar like armor. Fly with every memory like a map. Fly until you forget the sound of fear and remember the rhythm of freedom. And when the world tries to call you back, when the voices say you've done enough, when comfort calls your name like a lullaby, roar. Roar so loud that doubt drowns in your conviction. Roar like a life that knows what it costs to rise. Roar like someone who has nothing left to lose because you've already lost it all and gained yourself. This is your legacy. Not the money, not the trophies, not the applause. Your legacy is this. You kept going. When it broke you, you rebuilt. When it silenced you, you sang louder. When it closed in, you broke through. You did not need to be perfect. You just needed to refuse to quit. And now you are unshakable. Not because the path was easy, but because you learned to carry the mountain, not climb it. This is how legends are made. Not in moments of glory, but in the shadows of doubt, in the hours no one saw, in the choices no one applauded. You don't rise once. You rise again, and again, and again, until the ground no longer recognizes you, until the sky bows to your name. You have become the storm. You have become the fire. You have become the one they warned would never stop. This is the final chapter of failure, not because you'll never fall again, but because you'll never fall the same. Now you fall forward. Now you fall with faith. And every time you do, you rise higher, until there is no ceiling, only sky. So go, make history, write it in sweat, etch it in defiance, live it in such a way that when they say your name, they say it with reverence. Because you did not surrender, you transformed. You did not give in, you gave more. You didn't just survive failure, you turned it into flight. And now, you are unstoppable.